Big Safe.
Fat Man Scoop, Brooklyn Clan. What's up, y'all? This is Fat Man Scoop. And right now, you watching the sensei, the number one, the king, my dude, Big Brando. He taught me, personally, me, Fat Man Scoop. All you gotta do is keep your mouth closed and your ears open. Listen to the man talk. That's knowledge personified right there. And I wouldn't trust nobody else but my dude, Big Brando. And I said it. Fat Man Scoop, Big Brando. Let's go.
What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today let's talk about how I set up my booth whenever I vend at a festival. Now let me first start off by saying it all depends on your booth location, whether you're indoors or outdoors. Is it going to be a 10 by 10, 10 by 20, 12 by 12? Are you just getting a 6-foot table? The layout of the event, and do you have any shared walls, shared spaces with other vendors? All of these things matter because all of this stuff varies. It depends on the event that you're doing. So the event that we're talking about is the Hawaiian Festival that I vended at the other weekend. Every year I vend at this same festival. Goes down in Lawndale, California at Alondra Park. This is one of Southern California's biggest Hawaiian festivals. I've been doing it for years. I've been attending this festival since I was born, but I've been vending at this thing for maybe 10 years plus, and I'm always in the same location. Now, the reason I always talk about this festival and promote this festival on my YouTube channel is because it's free. Some of the other festivals that I vend at, you have to pay to get into. I think it's pretty unfair to make people pay to come out and check you out at a booth, even if they're not shopping with you and they just want to come out and say what's up. So this is the festival that I always talk about. You might have seen it on my Instagram. This one is 100% free all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and I appreciate everybody that came out and said what's up. So thank you guys for coming out, sharing some good conversation. Even if you didn't buy nothing, even if you did buy something, I appreciate you. I use this festival as a good way to slap hands, drink some beers, and hang out with the good people that watch my videos. So I appreciate everybody that came out, said what's up. The homie Jerry Mendez was out there chopping it up. The other homie that's from Northern California that has the jiu-jitsu gym, appreciate you and your family for coming out. And the family that came out from Wilmington from the car club, that was cool too. Get a chance to chop it up and just hang out with you guys. I'm mad I didn't take a bunch of pictures with everybody that showed up. And the other homie from Inglewood that came out and chopped it up for a while, appreciate you too. I think I took a picture of him. I'll insert that here. And everybody else that came out and slapped hands and shared some good conversation. Appreciate you guys. Now, let's talk about setting up a booth. Now, first things first, like I said, location is everything. You want to know which way traffic is going. You want to know which way your booth is going to be facing. You want to know if you're going to have shared walls, maybe a shared back, maybe it's all going to be closed off. Who knows? This is going to affect the way you set your booth up. So just to give you a little rundown on how my booth is set up, I think we had about 100 to 120 vendor booths here at this event. The way they set them up was you had 4 10 by 10s in the front, then you had 4 10 by 10s in the back. So you had a walkway here, and along the sides. So in that one little cluster, like I said, 4 10 by 10s, 4 10 by 10s, I had 2 of those. I was on the back row. I had 2 10 by 10s. So my booth is set up vertical. So imagine 2 10 by 10s, it's a 10 by 20 booth. First things first, the easy ups, the pop-ups, the canopy, the tent, whatever you want to call them, were not supplied by the festival. You had to bring your own canopy to this event. So if you are going to do a lot of vending outside, I highly recommend buying a sturdy, robust, durable pop-up tent. Now these tents can be misleading. The ones that I use are the ones from Sam's Club. I think they're made by Z-Shade. I think that's the brand. What you want to look for is octagon legs, not the square legs. You want octagon legs. Also, you're looking for booth height. Some of these smaller ones that you buy like at Big Five that are made for like the beach, they might only go up to like 6 feet high, fully extended, and the legs are kind of flimsy. The framing is kind of flimsy, and the actual covering is really thin. The ones that I have, it's like made out of canvas. It's like a heavy duty covering. The legs, like I said, are octagon and not square. I've had mine for a few years now. No issues. They still work. They still hold up, and I use them every year. The framing has a little bit more reinforcements. I think we had ours extended to like maybe about 7 7, and we still had a few holes to go up higher, but we kept ours, I want to say it was about 7 feet. I'm like 6 feet, I'm right under 6 feet tall, so it's just enough headspace where you're not hitting your head on the tent and all that, but it was cool. Also, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get you some good tables. Now, the tables that I use are 6-foot tables, but they're the ones that fold in half. I want to say they're made by Lifetime. I think that's the name of the brand. You could also buy those at Sam's Club or Lowe's or Home Depot. I don't use the solid 6-foot tops. I use the ones that fold in half. It's easier to transport that way. So in my booth, I'll walk you through it. I'll put up some small clips just so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I didn't film a lot, but these are just small little clips that I took for Instagram to put on Reels. First things first was, like I said, 10 by 10. Tent, I had 2 of those. So we had a 10 by 20 space. What I did was I took 2 6-foot tables, laid them along the side of the tent against one of the walls. We had a shared space with 2 other booths on the other side of us. So what I did was I put up the canopy walls just to block that off and create separation. Now with creating that separation, I also put down 2 6-foot tables. I cover the 6-foot tables with fitted polyester tablecloths. You can find those on Amazon. Just look up 6-foot tablecloths, and they'll pop up, different colors, all that stuff. Now, the next 6-foot table that I used went in an L shape, and we use that as counter space. So the 2 6-foot tables along the wall were used for display. The 6-foot table in the L shape was used as counter space. So we have 12 feet in table space, and then we have an extra 2 feet from the other 6-foot in the L shape, which is 14 feet all the way across that wall. Right behind that, I set up a small 4-foot table. The 4-foot table was just for us behind the booth to use as storage, to use to eat on, to use to fold t-shirts on, just extra table space in the back for us. Treat it as counter space. So 10 by 20 booth. We have 12 feet in table. We have an extra 2 feet. That's 14 full feet of display space. Then we have that extra 4 foot, which makes it 18 feet of table space. These are the tables that I brought. 3 6-foot tables that fold in half, 1 4-foot table. Now on top of that, we brought the grid racks, the grid walls that you see in the shop where we hang the vinyl up. We brought grid walls similar to those to hang up hats. You can find these little hat brackets on Amazon. You can find it on OfferUp. We use them to display hats. Those are 6-foot by 2-foot grid walls. We hung those from the bottom of the Easy Up. Hanging them from the bottom of the Easy Up, we use zip ties. Zip ties are your best friend whenever you're vending out in public. That's something I always bring with me. Zip ties, tape, rope, string, scissors, wire cutters. These are things that I keep in a little kit that I bring with me anytime I vend anywhere, indoors or outdoors. So those grid walls displayed hats and t-shirts. We also had grid walls on the outside of the tent going vertical and connected to the legs of the tent. These were to display t-shirts on. What we did was we put t-shirts in hangers, hung it up on the grid wall, and then we use binder clips. The clips that you get to clip like a big stack of paper, they're called binder clips. You could buy them at Target, Walmart, Office Depot, Staples, any of those office supply stores will have them. They're usually cheap, like $1 or $2 for like a dozen. I use the 1-inch ones. I use those to clip the t-shirts tight to the grid wall. That way the t-shirts are displayed nicely and the wind isn't messing them up and wrinkling up the design. I'm pulling those things tight on the hanger and then I'm clipping them to the grid wall. Now besides that, if you look in the video, you'll see that we have Hawaiian print material all over the booth. That just adds to the booth, creates a little bit of separation. That way you don't just have white walls in there. So we draped some across the top, almost to create like a roof, and then we just clipped it with binder clips, and then we laid it against the back where we had that white wall right behind the grid walls to give the booth a little color, create separation between the products. These are all fairly cheap things to do. Buy a few yards of fabric. It could be any fabric that you wanted to. Go around, hang them up. And then towards the back of the booth, we hung up the banners. That's just so people know what booth they're walking into. Fairly easy setup. The way we did it was we utilized both walkways that we had. We had the walkway in front of us on the 10-foot side, and then we also had the walkway on the 20-foot side. We made it very inviting to walk in, up to the tables, look at all the displays, and see what we have to offer. This way, once they walk into the booth, this gives us an opportunity to talk to the people. This booth layout, very easy to do. I'll make another video on inventory that I brought and my thought process behind the inventory. I didn't want to make this video super long, but I just wanted to explain the booth build out and the layout for everybody so you could get an idea of how this thing works. I know a lot of people seen it on Instagram. They're like, man, you got to do a video about it. I said, cool. I'll do it for you guys. But that was the thought process. Getting those 6-foot tablecloths are best because you use underneath the table as storage, and then it's covered by the tablecloth. So you don't see nothing underneath the table. You use that for storage. That's where you put all your bins, your totes, your boxes, and stuff you don't want laying out. Also, you could see on the tables is where we also displayed a lot of hats also. But what we used was some of these little wooden crates to create a little separation across the table to display different hats. So that way everything just isn't down below. We created a little shelf with those crates to display more hats. And then we had the hat racks on top, separated by t-shirts, just for extra display. I hope this gives you a good idea on how I set my thing up. I like to go for convenience, meaning load in, load out convenience. Tables that fold in half, 2 easy ups that are the same, tablecloths that can fold down that are fitted. Banners were hung up with zip ties. Like I said, zip ties are your best friend whenever you're out vending. So make sure to always keep zip ties on hand, fishing string and rope on hand, tape, markers, scissors, and wire cutters to cut the zip ties. And also, I guess you could throw in binder clips because those things come in handy also. So if you got any questions about the booth layout and stuff like that, make sure you leave it in the comments. I'll make another video separately about inventory that I brought and the way we displayed stuff, thought process behind that, and maybe I'll just make a little series about vending for the people that are going to be vending. Hope this helps somebody out there. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Follow me on Instagram, Big Brando TV. You can see the Instagram reels of the event and all that good stuff. Catch you guys on the next one, man. Yeah.